Welcome to Meeples on Meeples, episode 73. I'm Adam.
Andrew.
And I'm Brian.
Before we get to our game of the week this week, we want to invite you over to our website, meeplesonmeeples.com, as well as our YouTube channel, Facebook page, Twitter, which I don't think we've updated in quite a while. But if there's a social network out there, we probably have an account. Just search Meeples on Meeples and you'll find us.
This week we are reviewing Bad Beets. It's a card game. It's a very simple game. It's very much in the vein of, say, Love Letter or whatever, where you have, I believe there's 16 cards in the whole game. It's just 5 different cards repeated multiple times. And basically the goal is you start off with 8 beets, and you are kids sitting around the dinner table, and you do not want to eat your beets. You want to get rid of them. And the first one to get rid of all 8 of their beets wins. In order to do that, you have to play your cards. So the way it works is everybody has 1 card. And the first player draws, there's 1 extra card in play. So if there's 3 players, there'll be 4 cards in play. So the first player now draws this new card and says, I have a nuh-uh and a feed the dog, okay? So I choose 1 to pass, I put that face down, I pass that to the next player. The one I want to play, I put face down in front of me, and then I declare what I'm playing. So in this case, I kept feed the dog, so I'd say, I'm going to feed the dog. And if you read the feed the dog card, it says you get rid of 3 beets. So I say, I'm going to feed the dog, I'm going to play 3 beets. Now, you don't have to tell the truth. You can bluff. Because this game is half love letter, but the other half is coup, where you can pretend that you have an ability that you don't, and people have to decide if they want to call you on it or not.
And sometimes, in this case, you actually have to, because as Brian will get into, you get certain cards that you can't do anything.
So you just have to pretend like you have something else and try to get. So let's say I'm going to play Feed the Dog. This early in the game, nobody knows what's left in the deck, so they might believe me and let me get away with it. Somebody might say, he's got rid of 3 of his 8 beets already, so somebody could say, I don't believe you. At that point, I flip it up, and if I'm correct in telling the truth, I carry out the action, and the person who said bull has to draw an extra beet. They gain a beet to get dinged for it.
And then Brian would draw a new
And then I would get a new card. And the next player got that nuh-uh that I passed on, and they have their card, and they have to decide what they're going to play and what they're going to pass on. If I had been lying and I flipped up, I was like, darn it, it's not feed the dog. Really, the only thing that happens is I keep these beets.
And the person that called you discards an extra.
Yeah, the person who called you discards an extra and gains a little favor with mom or whatever. If you don't like to bluff, you can do another option. You can just say, I'm going to eat a beet. And nobody can call bluffing on that. That just lets you get rid of 1 beet. I'm going to eat a beet. That is always an option. And if you are sure that people know what you have and there's no way you're going to get away with lying or whatever. What the cards are, is they're laid out here. They're blue and orange. Orange you play out of turn. Blue you play on your turn. There's share, where you choose another player to give 2 beets to. There's tattletale. If I think I know what Adam has, let's say I know what I passed him, and then I know what he passed on, and was he telling the truth or whatever, when it comes back I can be like, and I can tattletale. If I guess correctly, I give him 4 of my beets. Okay? If I'm incorrect, now that's the one, what is the ding on that?
I think you just keep your 4.
I just keep the 4 and that's it? Okay.
If he does a tattletale, though, and I have a nuh-uh, so he says, I'm going to guess you have a share, Adam. I can play the nuh-uh, and it allows me to give him 4 beets instead of him passing the beets on to me.
Yeah. So if you can trick somebody to get, thinking that you have something that you don't, and you have a nuh-uh, you get to play it on them. It's like, nah, nice try, and you get rid of 4, and it backfires on them. Copycat. If somebody says I'm going to feed the dog, like I did earlier, they can instantly flip over copycat, and they also get to get rid of 2 beets. In which case, then they would just draw a new card and play would continue. You can't call a bluff on that because they have to play it face up. Yep. There's the nuh-uh card, which we explained, and then the feed the dog, like I said before, is get rid of 3 beets. That's pretty much it. You can play it in 1 round if you want, where first person gets rid of all 8, wins and done, or you could play the first person to get rid of all 8, eat their dinner, and they get dessert. They take an ice cream token. Then you play another round, and it's the first one to get to. You set a limit, 2, 3, 4 wins or whatever. They win the game overall because it plays really quickly, and you might want to stretch it out a little bit.
And the great part of it is all of the rules fit on this little card that everybody gets. But right in front of you, you can see exactly what every single card does. Very simple.
There's only one other rule, and that's when you get 2 of the same card in the discard pile. Like, let's say there's 2 nuh-uhs in the disc because you play them so everybody can see what's out there. Then you shuffle them back in. That way you don't run out of cards and somebody can't say, okay, I know there's no nuh-uhs left because they're all out there. So once you get a second one thrown in the discard pile, they get shuffled back in. So you always have that kind of guess. You don't know exactly what's out there and you can't completely narrow it down. But that's pretty much how you play the game. It plays really quickly.
All right, let's talk about the components. All in all, everything fits in this box, so there's not a lot to it.
Very transportable.
There's the beet chits, the
Dessert,
and then the cards and your player cards.
Now keep in mind, these are sleeved. Somebody happens to make bad Beets sleeves, which perfect match. The card quality though is pretty good. I mean, it's thick. It's nice cartoony artwork. It's
like
definitely aimed at kids and families.
It's like the textured plastic playing card kind of feel to it.
It's nice. There's one component I am going to complain about, and that is the rule book. Like I said, it is literally half love letter with the size of the deck, and you play one in secret, and then the other half is coup. And they assume, the creators of this game, I believe it's the same man who created Ascension, a very popular deck builder game, he just assumes, or whoever wrote this rulebook, that you played both those games, and so they kind of just vaguely describe the rules, and they expect you to fill in the blanks, like, okay, so it's like Love Letter, Coup, and then your first game you kind of figure it out. And I know I'm not the only person to mention this. I've seen this in other videos, and I've seen a lot of questions on the forums, which for such a light, family-friendly game, this rulebook is crap. It is. It's a terribly written rulebook. Once you start playing, if you've played those other two games, you're like, oh, this makes sense. This is so easy.
I will say, as far as components go, I think they're all good quality. You know, the chits are the normal cardboard. I do like the player. We like player mats here. I think
Well, it's a player aid more than a mat.
But the kind of cool part of it is you're sitting at the dinner table. It is actually made up like a placemat. It's got like a design on the back, like it's your placemat.
I don't think I've ever noticed that before.
But it also lays out everything you need to play, even if the rule book isn't that great. I think right on this card, which is just.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Love Letter again. You have that little player aid in front of you, and that's all you need to be able to do it. But yeah, not a lot to it.
I like the artwork on it. I mean, it's simple, very, very simple.
Very family friendly.
Yeah. But it's just, it's easy to read. That's the best part is white letters against blue, white letters against this orange. It's just, when you put it down, you can see it from across the table.
And there's nothing in this game that would affect, for instance, Ian, someone who's colorblind.
Right.
No issues like that.
The card says what it does.
Yeah. So, and the artwork is different, very different on all 5 of the different types of cards. So, no, the components I'd say are actually really good for a game that you pay maybe $10, $12 for or whatever.
Right.
Next up is strategy. It's such a light game. And I mean, just have a good poker face and lie. Well,
pretty much.
It's and keeping track of what's out there, which, as we talked about, when you have to reshuffle, sometimes that can kind of mess with it. But if a card's getting, you can kind of see if a certain card's getting passed around a lot and getting a good idea of what everybody has. Also remembering what somebody played the time before and what card they're picking up and what card.
Especially if you have the one that lets you, where you can guess what they have.
Yeah, I mean, if they're
Tattletale.
Let's say Andrew, I watch him pick up and put down a card, and he does Feed the Dog, and then the next round he picks up a new card, puts down the card he played before, and still does Feed the Dog. Maybe there's an idea that you can maybe guess, hey, I'm going to call the bluff there because I don't think you got 2 Feed the Dogs in that hand. But
with this many cards, it is possible. I've had it happen a few times. But, I mean, all in all, it's just reading the other players. It's not even necessarily just playing the right card at the right time.
Yeah.
You just got to be aware of how many beats other people have, too. Because sometimes you're not paying attention and somebody's down to 3 beats, and if they have a Feed the Dog, then they just won.
Yeah, that's true. When I, share and get rid of beats, who do I give them to? Minor decisions like that, but really it's just kind of a social game, and it's fun.
Right.
And again, it's aimed at families, so they didn't want to complicate it too much, I don't think.
Yeah, one of the, not like a really great strategy, but I found where I've gotten dealt like the nuh-uh, and then I get something else. I'll say like, okay, I Feed the Dog is the first play, I'll put out 3. The guy next to me, actually I got a nuh-uh and a tattletale. I'll say, I'm going to Feed the Dog. I keep the nuh-uh. I pass the tattletale along. The guy next to me goes, oh, I'm going to guess you have Feed the Dog. And then you can hit him with the nuh-uh right away and get rid of 7 of your 8 beats in the first turn. It's not going to work all that often if you play with the same group, but it is a strategy.
It's possible.
I can't think of much else to it, though. Very straightforward game.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk likes and dislikes. I'll start off by saying, and I think we kind of all agree on this, the components, besides the rulebook maybe, are really nice. They get the job done, communicate the style, kind of the family party game style.
I'm going to piggyback on something Andrew mentioned earlier. The portability is awesome. I bring this to game night almost every week. And if we play it, great. If we don't, I'm out nothing. I mean, it weighs nothing. It's tiny.
Lose it under the seat of your car, find it 6 months later.
Buy a new version. I mean,
it's cheap enough. I also the funny thing is every time we play this, I always try to decide which one do I like more, this or Love Letter. But I like the fact that it plays enough like Love Letter, but it adds that new twist of bluffing, which is kind of fun. But the one downside, as far as a dislike, is if I play, like my 8-year-old daughter's played with us, she doesn't like to bluff or just straight up can't. So she'll just eat a beat sometimes, and you're never gonna win at that rate doing that. So
I've come close doing that.
Younger kids might be a little harder on
they might miss the
keeping
point.
track of the cards, and missing the point, and is it okay to lie?
8+.
But yeah,
Okay.
That's probably about
That's
right.
about right.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably play it with somebody younger, but you're going to end up with that kind of thing. And
Yeah,
they're
so
going to
it's-
see the cards and think they can't do something different.
but and then I have 2 older kids, and it is a very good family friendly game. So I mean, I do like that about it.
But what was the price on it? Around $10?
You'll pay like $10 to $12 probably for it.
For $12, the components are actually very good. I mean, for being as little as they are, but for that price point, I mean, besides you sleeving these, you really didn't have to because the cards are still pretty good.
And there's a lot of game. You get a lot of game for the $1.
It is
Right,
so
oh, yeah.
cheap
You
that
play
you
it
don't,
over and
need
over.
you don't need to sleeve it. Just the
The
cards can go to
sleeves,
heck.
the sleeves are almost as much as the game.
Anybody have anything a dislike on it though? I mean,
Like Brian said, the rule book's
Struggling
just-
through the first couple games. That's stinking. I
You
mean,
know-
I played it dozens of times now at this point, so it's not such a big deal. But
checking the facts a little bit here or there, whatever, oh, can you do that or can't you do that? But that doesn't happen very often either. All right, it's time for reviews. 1 is terrible, throw it in the fireplace. 10 is tell everybody to buy a copy. So I'm gonna go with a 7. It's a nice solid game. It's simple. It's cheap. The components are good. And you can just throw it out and play it in a few. I mean, you could play it in, what does it say for time actually? Oh, it says 15 minutes.
that's if you're playing 1 round, probably.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, even if you played it for 30 minutes, it's no big deal. It's a filler game.
I think we've done 3 rounds in 15 minutes.
Yeah, the first one to
Yeah.
get 3 ice cream wins.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I mean, you can burn through it real quick just waiting for somebody to throw it on the table. Like Brian said earlier, portability is amazing on it. So, nice solid 7.
Okay. I'm pretty close to that. I'm going to go with 7.5. And like I said earlier, the problem I always run into is when I'm deciding what games to bring, I'm like, do I feel like playing this or do I feel like playing Love Letter? And I always in the back of my mind think Love Letter. And then when we start playing this, it's like I'm reminded again, like, oh yeah, this game is really, really fun. And I do like that bluffing aspect, and it's not as, drawn out as cool, but it's not quite as, short as Love Letter. At the same time, it's a little bit better than Love Letter because nobody gets eliminated. So I really go back and forth on do I like Love Letter more or Bad Beets more. I think I like Love Letter more overall. I believe I did score that higher than a 7.5, but Bad Beets is a really good game. It's just one of those where I just kind of forget how good it is, and then I start playing it. I'm like, oh yeah, I really do enjoy this game. It is a lot of fun. Everything Andrew said, it's a solid game.
I'm not going to repeat a lot. I'm in the same boat as Brian. It's a great game. I'm going to give it a 7, right along with Andrew. Same thing, though. I think I like Love Letter more.
Can you put it into words why? I can't, because I hate player elimination. Love Letter has that. I just...
Love Letter is
It's less complicated.
It's almost faster, Love Letter, though. I mean, even when you're eliminated. And one thing I kind of like about Love Letter, and this isn't necessarily the gameplay itself, but is the fact that it's been made in so many themes. Like, you have the original, I have like a Batman one, which I like. You can get a Munchkin, you can get a couple other different versions.
There's a Santa, letters to Santa.
Yeah, so I kind of like that aspect of it. I can't really put it into words, though. They're very similar, but I like Love Letter a little bit more. Still a solid game, though, and I'd give it a 7. And I think that's our review of Bad Beets. Check back soon and see our next review.